George has always been a big dreamer. In the room he grew up in, he's got quotes written in Sharpie about things that he thinks are important. Prove them wrong is the biggest one.
Prove them wrong. That's big to me.
Karlaftis is there. George Karlaftis, the freshman.
He was talking about how he wanted to be the best NFL player when he hadn't even played a whole year of football.
As a competitor, someone that wants to achieve the highest level of anything, really, people don't believe you. All right, I'm going to prove you wrong.
George Karlaftis, the crown jewel of this Purdue recruiting class.
My mom was big into sports. My dad was huge into sports. That rubbed off on me and all my siblings.
Basketball was my favorite, and at West Lafayette High School, I had a pretty decent career. It was at Purdue where Matt and I first met. Matt was at Purdue to get his PhD in civil engineering. Matt was 100% Greek, and the only reason he came to America was for education. We did so many things together that led us eventually to Greece, not knowing that I was ever going to end up living there. We got married in June of 2000, and George was born April of 2001.
Swimming was big. You're around water basically at all times. My dad had seen a couple water polo players. Like, yeah, this is cool. Why don't you try it? And I'd always been a really, really good swimmer.
So George was the goalie. Matt would take him every night to water polo practice.
I started getting really good and playing with kids that were older and older. I was playing with the men's group when I was 13. My dad kind of made a push for that.
Right before George was going to try out to do the national team, George was at our pool with one of the coaches. I met my best friend. We were going for a run. And when I got back from the run, I saw my sister-in-law and this man, and I knew something had happened. And then I thought back. I tried to call Matt this morning, and he didn't answer. And they said, you need to go in the house and we need to sit down. And I said, I am not going in my blankety-blank house. I want to know right now, is he dead or is he alive? I don't know how. I just had this feeling. And they said, calm down. George is over there working out. I said, I know. You need to calm down. I said, no, I need to know before we go anywhere. And that's when they just hugged me and told me. And George heard me scream, runs out.
Like, what is it? You know, is it my grandpa? My uncle? And I was like, my dad? You know, and then my mom dropped to her knees and was like, yeah, it's your dad. Everything after that's kind of a blur.
Matt died of a massive heart attack. He was 44 years old. He left behind 4 children. Within 48 hours, I knew that I was bringing the kids back to America. The first year we were back in West Lafayette was a huge whirlwind. Out of all the kids, George had the biggest hurdle to overcome because he was the oldest and classes were harder.
Learning the whole process of how school works, you know, and how to take notes and how it all needs to be in English, right? So that was tough. And then, you know, you transition to sports and football.
George at first was kind of like hesitant towards playing, but as time went, a lot of his best friends were playing.
There was a coach who happened to be a classmate of my mom's. He convinced me basically to play. I went twice. First time I said no, and the second time I went back, I said, yeah, I'll give it a try. Freshman year came along. I was the kicker actually for the varsity team.
It's Karlaftis that boots this away. And this time it is the player that makes the kickoff, that makes the tackle. It's Karlaftis.
And then my sophomore year, everything kind of just took off. We had a connection down with the Indiana football team. You know, one day, hey, come down to camp. I remember we did a 40 challenge, beat all the linemen. I think I beat everyone out of the camp. Like, oh, I had some eyes on me. Coach Hagan was there.
We were actually his first offer when I was at Indiana. A lot of kids that get to this level have played, you know, maybe since they're in 3rd grade. For him to be able to do what he's done in a short amount of time, it's almost impossible, right? You could just see that this guy's got it. For a place like in Indiana, Purdue, you want to be one of the first schools that jump in. That might give you the edge.
Deep down, I wanted him to choose Purdue. All 5 of us kids went to Purdue. His dad got his PhD from Purdue. And Coach Braun was at the perfect time to come in and tell him, I'm new, you're new, we want to rebuild this. We want you to help us get this thing started. And he loved that idea.
I met Kaya my freshman year of high school during track and field. I was doing shot put. She was in discus. Instantly kind of hit it off as friends, really. One thing led to another. A few months later, we started dating.
He's huge now. Like, when I met him in high school, he was tall, but he wasn't super huge or anything. I think we all knew he was gonna do some great stuff at Purdue.
That will do it. Purdue snaps a 5-game losing streak against Northwestern.
In 2019, I was driving home from the game when Purdue was playing Northwestern.
I'd called her a little bit before. She was like, yeah, there's a lot of traffic. Talk to you later. Didn't think much of it, so I wasn't going to bother her. I was just going to wait for her to get home.
Got ran off the road by a car, and then getting back onto the road got hit with a semi-truck.
We went over there to the hospital. Gotta go back in the back room, and I was like appalled. What's going on? It's crazy seeing like the person you love in that kind of state. To a certain degree, almost dead, really.
I'll never forget that day. We didn't sleep for probably 36 hours. We drove that night to Methodist, spent the whole night in the hospital.
I didn't wake up for a couple of days. I woke up and couldn't move, so I knew it was pretty serious.
After a week, you'd put your hand out and she was doing letters. So that's a way of communication, and then she was eventually writing on a, so maybe like two to 3 weeks that she was slowly started to talk.
George was always by my side, and almost to like the point where I was like, George, go do something else.
I tried to be there a lot for her because she's always been there for me. Practice would get out at 6. After practice, I'd go down to Indy, do my homework in the hospital, in the car, whatever. Just be there with her family. You know, she needed someone.
I'll probably get back to 90% of what I was if I try and get back as hard as I can.
To see her do what she's doing now in track is incredible.
Every day he's just like, it's gonna be a great day, like nothing bad is gonna happen. George doesn't really let fear affect him. I don't think he knows what fear is, to be honest. He just lives his life, very confident, looking forward to the best.
He's just religious about wanting to be the very best he can be. He told me a few weeks back that the thing that drives him right now is he wants to be a first-round draft pick. Every waking moment he's doing something to pursue that dream.
The ball's free. Karlaftis picks it up. He's got a lot of speed. And he takes it in. Touchdown.
I grew up in Greece not really knowing what a full ride scholarship is or what a first down is. Things that are emotionally significant for me, I take a step back and kind of like, wow, kind of come a long way.